Hi, hello, all my fans and everybody out there. This is Lynn B., your host for Funny Minds, and I have my crazier than normal co-host on today with me.
Edward Biss. How's it going?
And we are so excited to have to our stage in front of our mirror, Dee Dee Marcelli, who is the do-all and tell-all and see-all and makeup artist all to the stars in Hollywood and elsewhere. Welcome to our show, Dee Dee. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thank you. I have to give you the Italian way to say my last name.
Marcelli.
Marcelli.
Oh, Marcelli.
You got to use your hands.
Marcelli. You weren't even born in Brooklyn, but you're Marcelli. Okay.
Yes.
I stand corrected, fans. Dee Dee Marcelli.
There you go.
Well, you were born and bred in California, Dee Dee, and I love that. I used to call my sister Dee Dee. It was Durrett, and I couldn't say Durrett, so I said Dee Dee. So she lived with that name until the day she died. But you were born in California, born and bred there, and I understand you wanted to be a rock star. Did you play with anybody that we know? Who?
Well, yeah. I mean, I actually did some recording with Kevin DeBro from Quiet Riot.
Kevin,
I know. And I was in a band for a hot minute with Ginger Baker from Cream. He put together a little band and I was in that. But I was with a band for a long time. I did a lot of different bands, but my main band that I was with for a long time, we opened for, the Go-Go's, Devo.
Oh, yeah.
That era.
Oh, I love Devo.
The Plimpton Souls, Boingo Boingo.
Oh, love the Oingo. Man, you're killing me.
Yeah.
These are all names I know. Doing vocals, guitar, what's your...
Singer. I was a lead singer.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's great. So you ended up doing everybody's makeup. What I was envisioning was that, like you were this little kid stealing your mother's makeup, running all over the neighborhood, making up all the kids, and decided, I'm going to do this for a living. And instead, you were just doing makeup at the time when, music wasn't hitting it for you.
I loved makeup. I always loved makeup. I remember watching my mom when I was little, slather on all the creams and put on her bright red lipstick and just how transformative it was, and it was so girly and I was so girly and I loved it. And I always was playing with makeup, but I never in a million years would it have occurred to me to do that as a profession. I did that as singing in rock bands because I didn't want to be a starving musician, Right. I needed to make money. So I did that on the side and without even really trying, honestly, I kept working my way into all these jobs. I ended up being the national for Chanel and the national artist for Dior and still really not trying or caring. And then, as life has it, went down a road of someone offering for me to work on a TV show and do makeup. And, I've been singing for a really long time. Again, seemed like fun. I didn't really think all that much of it other than it sounded better than, running around being in the stores, working with, makeup lines. And in the meantime, I had gone to Joe Blasco and I'd learned how to do, bruises and scars and all these different things. So I was prepared to do it. Mm-hmm. And then that door opened and I tell you, it just... It's one of those things. Life, it just took off.
It just catapulted you. I mean, I looked at the list of your A-listers. I mean, it blew my mind. I mean, all the people that you have met so far in your lifetime, let alone did their makeup. Just meeting these people to me is amazing. I mean, you're so lucky on so many levels, really. And
Dee Dee, I want to be honest with you right now. If my mother did makeup for Channing Tatum, that would result in Channing starting his own Me Too movement. Have
you ever gotten close to him? I mean,
she'd be like the only makeup artist with her own casting couch.
Oh my God. I'll tell you, that's one of the tricky things. When you're a makeup artist and you're inches, from someone's face, and they're, and if it's someone you've really always liked, or they're just some gorgeous being,
Yeah, really?
and you have to keep your composure,
Yes.
and I'm pretty good now. Like it's very rarely that I get thrown, but, especially when I was younger and I worked on Tatum Channing and, it was, I was like, wow, it's a pretty good looking guy,
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
See, Ed, I'm not the only one. Look.
Oh, I'm sure you're not. It's just, Dee Dee, it's got to be a whole level, I should say, a little bit of a different level of pressure. It's one thing to do makeup and for lines and stuff like that. Obviously, you have that down to a science. But when you move over to a different industry like theater or movies, that gets a little bit more tedious. You're in that room longer. People are in that chair a lot longer a lot of times. And it's a whole different ball game, a whole different world. And did that take you a little while to get used to that? Or did you roll right into it?
Well, I basically do TV. So it's pretty darn fast. And, you really have to be on your game. You really, I remember one of the jobs I had a long time ago was I would do these press junkets. And now if I do a press junket, I'm with the talent. I'm with the main actor or the director, whoever. But back then I was doing all the press, and they would give you, oh my God, literally 2 minutes to do an entire face. And the press would go in and they'd interview, the actor or whatever. So they'd line up like outside. I'd be at the Four Seasons. They'd line up outside the bathroom, which is where I was doing all set up with all my stuff. And it was so fast that it really helped me, because they would come in and I'd look at them and I try to find the worst thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what can I fix? Like, and I analyze them, like a little robot. And then just like how quickly can I put this on them, or fix something with hair or whatever. So TV actually has taught me to be pretty fast when I need to be.
It's like runway models. They come back and it's like boom, boom, boom. They got to get like different clothes in like 0.8 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you got to be you got to be a speedster.
It takes me 2 minutes just to put my makeup mirror on, let alone do anything with my face, for God's sakes. But wow, 2 minutes. That's like incredible. Good for you. So wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know the two shows that you do right now, 25 words or less, I tape that show because I don't watch it during the day, so I'll watch it at night, or I'll wait a couple of days and watch a couple of episodes. I love that show. That's really, really very interesting, that show. And the flip side, you do the flip side too. And he's crazy.
Flip side, yeah.
Oh, he's crazy. Sometimes I'll be having dinner. Yes, he's crazy. I mean, like, I'll be having dinner sometimes and watch the show. I don't watch it all the time. And the other night I was watching it, and these poor people didn't get any points and finally scored something. He fell on the ground. He was having a fit. He was laughing so hard, and he was like, "Oh, thank the Lord!" I mean, he was going. I was hysterical. I was laughing at him. He's the guy from Urkel. Remember Urkel? Remember the show Eddie Urkel?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's on this show Flipside, and of course he looks a whole lot different. But but he's a crazy guy. So you must have a lot of fun with him. You're doing the show in Atlanta right now, right? And then you go back to California.
Yeah,
and then
I will be here almost 2 months when I go back.
Okay.
So
what was the idea of going to Georgia to do the show? I mean, is that normal or?
Well, the industry has gone through a lot right now, and a lot. I'm sure you know. And in LA, unfortunately, we've lost a lot of shows because of the tax incentives in other states. And Atlanta is one of the big ones. Atlanta has just, done everything they can to attract TV shows and production, and they have. And so both of my shows, Flipside and 25 Words or Less, both of them moved to Atlanta. So, I'm fortunate because I'm just working with the stars of the show. So they will bring me on if the person wants me. It's called Star Request. So I get to move wherever the show's going. But unfortunately, a lot of our crew was just I'm sorry. They're got all their Atlanta people and they're out of luck. So,
oh, wow.
What a shame.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's a really hard time right now. And I mean, I get it business wise, but it's really rough for all my friends out in LA. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, they've had,
yeah.
They've had their share of so many devastating things with all the fires and this, and it seems like there's earthquakes going on all the time, and here, there, and everywhere. But so much stuff was destroyed. But I do I talk a lot to Stephen Mayer and a couple of other people who are just saying how hard it is to get the funding to do anything anymore. It's just like it's becoming like a ghost town, so to speak. It's very, very hard to get anything accomplished.
Yeah.
And that's sad because...
It's rough.
Yeah, but when it comes to taxes and everything else, that's a whole different ballgame.
But California's always been crazy with taxes. Their tax structures is very, very difficult.
It's understandable for them to try and move to a place where they can have a better better deal. Plus the employees, with what they have to pay in taxes and stuff like that. I mean, you see athletes go through this when you think they make X amount of dollars, but then they have to pay tax in each state they travel to, play football in. And it becomes this whole convoluted thing that you have to get some smart people in there who know what they're doing to help you out and help you, hold on to some of that money.
Did you bring your daughter with you? Did you bring your daughter with you to Atlanta?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No, she's such a busy girl. She's just killing it with everything she's doing. She's working 2 jobs. She's singing, she's recording, and she's back in college again. So she's doing her thing.
She stayed behind. She's doing her thing. Okay.
How old is
Mama's
she?
there.
Yeah. And so Mama is free. Well, I'm out here just like I'm so used to being a mom and the head of the house, and I got the daughter and my dog, and it's really bizarre when I travel because it's so quiet and there's no one for me to run around after, and so it's
you could get used to that, right?
It's nice.
Real quick. Well, gee, Dee Dee, I mean, with all the people you meet, there's got to be a special guy out there somewhere, no? Are you going to drop the T on yourself?
Am I what? Gonna what?
Drop the T, tell us some stories?
Some stories of some people I'm going to meet?
She's trying to dig into your personal dating life.
Yeah, right.
Is what she's trying to do.
You said you're free. I have no special man in your life?
So I'm single.
No.
I'm a single girl.
She doesn't want to answer. That's okay.
I'm a single girl.
You don't have to tell us.
I've been married a few times, so it's not like I haven't. But I'm working on my career, and who knows?
Take it as it comes.
Your thing. Yeah,
take it as
you're
it
doing your thing. You don't need anybody right now.
I take it as it comes.
Peace and quiet for right now.
Yeah. It's a lot. Dating is a lot. I've even done online stuff. And I honestly, and that's just like another job. That's difficult,
Well, especially with traveling. I mean, you're I'm sure when you work probably very long hours. You're obviously traveling. It's hard to find the time. It sounds good in theory, but it's easier said than done.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's tricky too when your whole life is about being in the entertainment industry. It's hard because do you date someone that's in the industry or do you date someone who maybe is more normal?
Yes.
But then they don't quite get the entertainment industry. It's hard.
It is. And you got to find that yin and yang. And I noticed that, especially with actors, musicians are a little bit different, but with actors, actresses, what a train wreck a lot of those relationships are because they're both in that same bubble. They both have the same egos. They both have busy schedules. They both have usually a lot of money and they're both surrounded by a lot of good looking people.
Yes.
It becomes very difficult.
And everything is so wonderful in the beginning. And like 18 months later, it's like, who's leaving who for what reason and this and nobody's talking and then on. I'm like, but wait, 18 months ago, you were just like in seventh heaven. Yeah. It's like crazy.
Well, that's the problem with having things play out on social media too.
Yeah.
Even when I was full-on relationships. I didn't put it on Facebook because I learned my lessons. Don't do it, because I've had friends that are like, oh my God, I'm so in love. And then, 6 months later, you just feel silly.
I know. It's like, why did I do that?
6 months later, they say shoot a video of themselves choking a guy doll. Like they're going, hey guys, I hate guys. And like, like polar opposite, huh?
No, I was going to ask, how many episodes do you do a day?
We're doing 6 a day.
Okay.
6 shows.
All right.
So it's a lot. It's fast. With 25 words or less, we're doing a new thing where we're doing our 4th show live. So we do 3 shows, we have lunch, and then we are doing a live show that is streaming. And that's kind of crazy. That's new.
Right. So are you wrapping up like a full year of shows? Is that what you're doing, or 6 months or something like that?
Yeah,
okay.
Full year.
Wow.
So, we'll be done June 19th.
Do you do the full week, like Monday through Sunday? You work around.
We do 5 shows, 5 days in a row. We do Monday through Friday.
Okay, 6 shows a day. Okay, that's a lot. That's a long time.
We do, like, with lunch included, we're there like 11 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What do you do in the meantime? Like, when the show is actually going on, like when they stop for like commercials and stuff, do you have to like, just go over them, or make sure everything is okay on their face or what have you?
I stare at the monitor. There's a big monitor in front of us.
So you go, damn, I did a good job.
I wait to see if, Meredith like touches her face, or, something happens. God awful lipstick might get on a tooth. That's like my worst nightmare. So I just periodically I do my thing and I look up and I make sure nothing's happened. And then because I'm very, I'm get where my energy is. I just want to make sure everything's perfect. So I'll even if I think it's okay, I'll go in and, walk over to where she's at, stare her down, make sure everything's okay. And then walk away. Okay, you're good. Nothing on the teeth, everything, and nothing.
You're like, get over here, smile for Dee Dee. Let me see. All right, you're good.
I do. Poor Meredith. I actually do. I go, let me see your teeth. Because that's my job. And she's so well behaved. I have worked with celebrities that, the minute the camera's not on, they'll grab a candy bar with chocolate and shove it in their mouth. And then you have to go over and go, what's in your teeth? Like, that's my job.
They're naughty. They're just naughty people.
Oh, man.
Who is one of the most fun person that you've worked with so far, would you say?
Oh, well, I got to tell you, Meredith Vieira is wickedly funny.
Really?
She's so quick and so funny. We laugh all day long. We just completely laugh. She's hysterical.
I'm so shocked.
So I would say she's really funny. And once the live show, because the live show will be opened up to more markets soon. And when that happens, if you watch the live show, you'll see she's funny.
She's great. Okay.
Oh, she's wickedly funny. As far as funny, it's really interesting is I've worked with a lot of comedians, and you always think they're going to be super funny. And most of the time they're just, that's their act, but in real life, they're like, I do remember working with Robin Williams, and I remember at the time I was using these very big powder puffs. In fact, I have a powder puff collection of all these signatures. I would do their makeup, and then, again, earlier in my career, I'd be like, can you sign the powder puff? And so I have like 300 powder puffs that I've had all these people, some of them past, sign. Like, I think I have Christopher Reeves and Robin Williams and Dick Clark and, a lot of people.
Yeah.
And anyways, I remember working with Robin Williams, and I had, this big puff. And I wanted to puff it, and he kept trying to eat it. And he's like, rah, 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 right. And then he's going to this whole act about eating the puff, and then it's awful. And no, actually, it's delicious. And it was so funny. And he is just,
he's one of those guys,
character,
he just seems like one of those guys that just has a hard time turning it off.
Yeah. I believe that too. I think he's one of the funniest comedians, and I just loved him. I loved him.
Yeah,
everything that he did, I loved.
Me too.
So, oh my God, you're so lucky to have met all these people. Oh my God. How did you feel when you met President Bush?
Here's interesting. So I was Mrs. Reagan's makeup artist, not when they were in the White House, afterwards. Okay. And really, we got really close. She was tough, but I liked her a lot. And I remember when George W. was running for office, and I remember thinking, I'm a pretty liberal girl. I thought, I don't like that guy. I'm not going to like that guy, And I had gotten a call to work with him on the debates. He was going against Al Gore. Mm-hmm. And I was super excited to do it. But, I thought, well, I'm going to do a good job. I'm sure he'll be nice, but I don't think he's my cup of tea. And I remember I got there to where I was doing him. And there was a couple security guards, Secret Service guys. And I walked into the room, and, they were telling me, don't too much of this and too much of that. I'm like, okay. So I'm setting up things. And he came walking in a terry cloth bathrobe and a big white terry cloth. And he was smiling, and the music was, and he was kind of dancing, and I looked at him and I thought, you're going to be in front of the world, like the whole world soon. I think you should be, focusing on some notes. I think that's what and he was so happy, and he was so filled with joy, and he wasn't worried at all.
And just bopping around.
And I just bopping around. And I really thought, God, and he was so nice. Like within seconds, I'm like, oh gosh, I do like you. Like you're so pleasant and friendly. And I had asked if there was anything he did or didn't want with his makeup. And he's like, whatever you want to do, it's fine. Just whatever's good,
Awesome.
And I thought that was, yeah, it was really, and the thing that I took away from that experience was, I remember when they talked about Nixon and how he was sweating and how that meant he was lying. And I had worked myself into a lather about this job. I thought about it for like weeks, because I was like, how am I going to make him look great, but no makeup, and he can't sweat. It was a whole thing inside my head, right? Mm-hmm. And I ended up really great. And they, I remember the press had talked about how great he looked, and, blah, 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 wasn't sweating. And yet he had a full face of makeup. So I was very happy about that.
Well, that's because he was clearly pre-gaming before the debate.
I thought he was funny. I thought he was a funny guy. I don't know. He struck me as the type of person that didn't let too much, get under his skin and stuff like that. So,
yeah, it's a great experience because it's a politician, and it's not typically the type of people that most people are around a lot, even in your line of work. So you never know what to expect from Secret Service, how locked down things are, what you can and can't do, and all the do's and don'ts. So that's super cool. That is super, super cool.
Yeah.
And you get to go to a lot of the award ceremonies, right? Yeah. The Oscars and Emmys and stuff like that you go to. And that must be interesting.
I love the award shows. I mean, the glamour, the glitz, the makeup. It's like my Super Bowl. I can't wait.
Imagine.
I'm so excited about it. And I used to have to be there for hours and hours and hours. And now, again, if I do someone, I get to do them earlier in the day, most of the time in the morning. And then I run home and my tradition is to get a beef dip with massive French fries, and I sit in front of the TV, and I just watch it and study it,
Oh, I did her makeup today.
Just like everyone else,
So you don't have to stay there? You don't have to stay at the ceremony?
No. I mean, it's very rare now. I used to have to, but now I just will do them because they don't, with security and stuff, they don't want a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
Unless you're working on the show. And I have worked on the show, but now I just do like a person for like I worked with Francis Ford Coppola a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
And got him ready, and off he went. And that was it, So.
Wow, that's interesting.
That is very interesting because you would think that there's so many celebrities and they all have their favorite makeup artists. Yeah. And in my head, I'm envisioning every star has their own makeup artist there. And somewhere there's a back room with like 100 makeup artists just waiting, But obviously that's not the case.
Well, what they do is everyone gets ready at home, most of the big stars. And then there is like a green room. And I have worked on the shows where you're part of whatever, the Grammys, Emmys, Academy Awards, where there's probably 10 makeup artists, or maybe 8 makeup artists and 8 hair, and they're all back there. So if a celebrity needs touch-ups, or whatever has happened, they'll go in there, get touch-up, or, they may occasionally get their whole makeup done. But it's mostly because the personal makeup artist, there's just not enough room and credentials and all that.
So it's just kind of like a pit stop. If you need to refresh, you go into this green room. We got hair, we got makeup. We can touch you up and back out you go.
Okay.
Right.
Have you ever worked with the Kardashians at all?
No, I have not, which is interesting. I did meet Kris. I went to her house because I was working with Harvey Levin. And Harvey was interviewing Kris, and I've done several shows with Harvey, so we were there, and I did meet Kris. That's all I have to say.
Okay. We won't ask anymore.
They're a unique group. They're on their own planet in a lot of ways, but that's super cool. Just to step in there and meet them and just be around it.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say I do watch their show. I do enjoy watching it because I think it's kind of funny. I like the fact that they're so oblivious to so many things in life, because of who they are and what they are. But I think it's kind of funny. I like it.
Well, I think Kris is an amazing businesswoman. And I think what she did, how she led the way, and her kids, I'm not sure it's the healthiest thing that's, this whole
No, I understand.
business of living your life on camera all the time.
Right.
I don't know. But, I'm at the point in my life, I'm like, you do you. You want to do that?
Yeah.
God bless you. Have fun.
Rock and roll.
But it opened the way for a lot of other people to do the same thing. They're probably not as famous, or they don't have the long run that the Kardashians have, but it did open up a lot of areas where people did have a show for themselves, which was interesting. Some of it was interesting.
I've been in reality TV since pretty much the beginning. I did Big Brother.
I love Big Brother.
Nobody knew what that was. I did the first, I don't know how many seasons, maybe 5 seasons. And I remember getting the call, because it was like on July 4th, they called me, hey, we have the show. Okay. And I was actually going to a 4th of July event at the CBS lot. And I knew it was going to tape at CBS lot. And I walked by this big building, and it was a big blue building, as I recall. And I realized, that's the Big Brother house.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that they were going to record people 24 hours a day. Wherever they were in that house, it was getting recorded. And I remember thinking, wow, that's
interesting.
Weird.
Very interesting.
But
very,
then,
yes.
I mean, all these years later, and I do, I know a friend who's a big producer on that. He's still working on that show.
Wow.
And it's been, I don't know, many years, like.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. I watch it. I can't wait for it to come on this summer.
Yeah.
That's
And they
fantastic.
keep advancing and stuff like that. And a couple of times, I picked the winner, and a couple of times I didn't like the winner, but I picked it anyway, but I think it's a really good show. They're so
How about the
devious,
Housewives?
Oh God, the Housewives.
Oh, I don't know. I have never worked with the Housewives, which kind of surprises me. I keep thinking.
Because God knows they got plenty of makeup on. They could definitely use you.
Well, I do love a great, they call that they call it beating the face. I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but what they'll say a makeup artist beat the face. So that means they just piled it, bam, bam, bam. They put so much on. But I admire women I love wearing makeup myself, and I admire women that, they create that image and they feel good in that. And that's so much what makeup's about. It's about, putting on they call it war paint, right?
Yeah.
And it is like you're going out to face the world, and you put on that protection and you feel good, and you go out and you conquer it. And I think for a lot of women, it becomes, I don't want to really say crutch, but it becomes, it's like even for a man putting on a great new shirt you got, or you got a new, leather jacket. It's so great. And it's the same thing for a woman. We put this on, we feel good. Some people, they want to put more on because it's going to make them feel better. So,
exactly. Oh, I agree with you. I don't go anywhere if I don't put my makeup on. It's like a force of habit. The first thing in the morning, you get ready, you put your makeup on, and then you go about your day, whatever you're going to do. And it's just like, it's just ingrained, like, type of thing,
I've noticed a difference, though, in the past bunch of years with ladies with makeup, where it looks so much better now. Yeah, I don't know if
because it's lighter,
if the makeup's better, or if their knowledge is getting better, or if they're learning. Because I know a lot of people go on YouTube and watch, like Brianna does a lot of stuff on YouTube. My cousin's a model and does makeup and stuff. And when she goes online and she shows you her face, you're just like, whoa, oh my God. So there obviously is an eye for it. And there's people that just do it so much better, that I've noticed as a guy. But I play in a tribute band, a Motley Crue tribute band, and I do Mick Mars. So can you make me look like Mick Mars? Can you bring me, can I die and you bring me back to life?
Sure.
I figured you would like that. If you're playing with Kevin Dubrow, you definitely know the Motley Crue guys. So
yeah,
that's funny. Well, what would you say your best tips are for women as far as makeup is concerned right now? What would you think your best tips are?
Here's the number one tip: work on your skin before you put makeup on. Do the best. There's so many great things that you can do for your skin. There's some really good treatments out there, phenomenal treatments. And if you get your skin in really good shape, you can wear less makeup. You can focus a little more on your eyes or whatever, but you don't have to slather a lot of foundation and stuff. And that's really, I think, what most people hope for is that they can wear a little less instead of covering everything up so much. So I'd say invest in a laser treatment. If you're having a lot of issues, I don't think going under the knife is the best idea, but I think the laser treatments that are out there are phenomenal. So get good skincare treatment, start with that. And then, I think that, they always say less is more.
Right.
I think there's something to that. I think the most important thing on a woman's face is great eyebrows and great lips, because that balances you. It's like if it was a picture frame, those two things being that frames your face. So having really nice brows and having some little color on your lips, some definition on your lips, those two things. If you can get rid of some discoloration, if you don't do the whole thing with foundation, get some concealer, attack those areas that are kind of jumping out at you, broken capillaries or scars or some darkness around the eyes, just touch those up. And then if you can put a little glow on your cheeks, you'll look great. without the whole thing. It can be, you can get away with doing 5-minute makeup. I'd say 15, 10, 15, and you're great. You really can.
Yeah.
I noticed, women who have rosacea, battle that all the time, that redness. And so
there's treatments now for it.
Like going back to what you said about skincare. I mean, that's obviously insanely important. It makes a lot of sense.
It does. Because you have one face. So, you need to protect it. You need to stay out of the sun.
Yes.
Stay out of the sun. Because
I totally agree with you.
It's so aging,
Yeah.
And you can fake a tan. That's easy.
True.
I've seen it with bronzer. Bam, bam, tan,
There's one thing, I've never been a sun baby, never. And if I do have to go somewhere, like it's the summertime, I have a big hat, I have different hats and I don't sit on the beach, it's not my thing. Right. And even if I'm by a pool, I'm going to sit under the umbrella or at the tiki bar, one of the two,
Yeah, but you're so white, you would explode.
Oh yeah, my skin is very, very light, very light. But I agree with you. Less is better. I think less is better. You
have to adjust it. There's certain things you could do in your 20s, 30s, 40s. Like you hit a certain age, and you might need to change products. The thing that you had forever, that same foundation. All of a sudden, you can't wear a powder foundation at a certain age.
Right.
It's not going to look good.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, especially now that you're in your early 30s, Dee Dee, that's...
Yeah.
You still got a ways to go before you have to change that foundation. You got a ways to go. See?
He's looking for points.
I know. Pretty soon you'll be 32.
You are like butter. You are just, you are slick like butter. Tell you that.
So, Dee Dee, tell all our fans where they can find you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm on Instagram under my name, Dee Dee Marcelli. And
Marcelli.
Marcelli. And I'm on Facebook. I have an artist page on there, and I have a personal page. And I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on TikTok. I just got on TikTok. You do all this stuff. It's like I get sick of me because I'm so posting here and there and there and there. God,
I know. Somebody told me there's a new one, Lemonade or something like that, and I said, you know what? I can't be bothered with another social media. It's just really great. Yeah.
No, God, no.
There's Lemonade. There's Lemonade and there's Threads, and I'm done.
It's just it's redundant. Too. Yeah, it's redundant. You're just going to get the same people and say the same things, and it's like
absolutely.
It's so mind-boggling. So you're straight across the board, Dee Dee Marcelli.
Yeah. Dee Dee Marcelli.
On all platforms. Do you on the TikTok? Do you do some how-tos or?
I haven't. I actually, it's because I actually got on there because someone had told me you should do the TikTok live marketplace, whatever that was. They were like, you should be like selling things on. And I first I didn't really know if I wanted to sell things, but I thought I should check it out. But and they're like, oh, well, you should try and go after this job. And I'm like, but I'm not on TikTok. I don't have any followers. So I literally just got on there or whatever, not too long ago. So, and I haven't done any how-tos because I'm nervous about it.
All right.
I don't know.
Are you going to write a book? I thought I read somewhere where you're thinking about writing a book. Are you going to do that?
I have a few different books in me, and I'm not sure. I have a product I'd like to invent that I haven't done yet.
Okay.
And and I've written a couple treatments for shows. So I like to create in all different areas. And then I just kind of go, okay, God, to see if anything comes of it. But the book thing, I intrigues me. I'd like to do that. I have a question for you.
Sure.
As a woman, as both of you. So my question is, would it be good to do a book about the behind the scenes of Hollywood? Because, I can't give a lot of names.
Yeah,
because
that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
But
you want to keep working.
Yeah, that's true.
I could give stories and I could give ideas, or would it be a good idea to do a book about makeup, like women of a certain age, or
No, I think that you're not going to do a tell-all book because, like my son said, unless you just want to lose your jobs, there's certain things that you're just not going to say. But you probably have a lot of great stories of a lot of people over the years. And people will read that. Yeah. People love to read about stars or important people or whatever. And even if they've heard the story before, it's just more fun for them to read it again.
I agree. You don't have to name names. You could just, be specific without being specific, tell stories, it's just, people love that stuff.
And you've had an incredible life so far with so many important people. You've run the gambit. I mean, I would love to be in your shoes.
I get around. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you do. You do, honey, you do.
In the nicest way possible.
Yeah, no, I think a book like that would be a lot more interesting. You could do you could show makeup stuff and talk about makeup and all that. You can do that on TikTok, for God's sakes, or put your products on TikTok. But the book, I think you should go Hollywood. I would go Hollywood. Go big or go home.
Yeah. And then practice up on your vocals. So next time I'm out in LA, we can get together and jam, get you warmed up and back out there.
Yeah, right. Oh, Dee Dee froze again. We'll just wait for her to come back.
She freezes in the perfect position too.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you on. I'm so excited. I mean, I was excited when I first saw you on LinkedIn and, the conversations we've had back and forth. And you're just a marvelous person. You really, really are. I'm very excited that you agreed to be on the show. So with that, I am going to say to all of my... I know. You're just you're real. You're not this phony baloney person. And yet, you've been in the trenches with some incredible people, and you're just so real. It's great. I love people that are actually real, and it's been fun. It's really been a lot of fun talking to you.
Thank you.
So I want to say to all of our fans, I hope that everybody enjoyed Dee Dee, because I know we did. And I know she's very exciting, and you have to watch her shows, 25.
And everybody go online, find her on Facebook, find her on Instagram.
And TikTok, and and come back, Dee Dee. So
get her to start singing for you as well.
Exactly. Ask her to sing. And, like everybody else, we have merch. So if you go on funnyminds.com, you're going to see all of our information. And there's 2 organizations that we really, really are very fond of, and that's St. Jude's Children's Hospital and Breast Cancer. So there's a big purple button. If you want to donate, that's fine. But they really do a lot of good for a lot of people. And keep watching those shows and keep in touch with Dee Dee. And Dee Dee, I just, I'm so excited. And the next time I watch an award show, I'm going to know that your handiwork was somewhere along the line there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And thank you for agreeing to be on. It's been wonderful.
Dee Dee, you're awesome. You rock.
You bet. Sorry for all the stuff.
Oh,
that's okay. That's okay, Dee Dee. Not a problem. You know what? Nothing is scripted. It's all real. It's, it is what it is. And this is what an interview is. It's real, and it comes and it goes, and it's up and it's down and it's in and it's out, but it's real. So that's wonderful. So I'm going to
She's doing her Matthew McConaughey impression.
I know. I'm going to wish you the best.
It's woozy. It's wazzy. It's. Thank you so much, Dee Dee.
Yes, Dee Dee. We're going to say bye-bye now.
School.